Hello, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me address this. These are my glasses. These glasses, these are only implemented when it is a serious matter that needs to be addressed. You see this notebook? Got it roughly around 2013-ish. See that beautiful cover and that Southern University font on there and logo? Yeah. You know what this notebook's for? This is for me to write down talking points. How often do you think I had to use this notebook for talking points on my channel? Never. And when I say never, I never had to, because I'm usually pretty secure with my free form of thought. But see, today, I think we need to address this issue regarding StockX. So this notebook will be implemented quite heavily. Run the intro. All right. Okay, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy J Baby, Mr. Major Man, Mr. 504, Jeezy from the Big Easy, here to welcome y'all back to the showroom. And originally, wholeheartedly, I was originally going to give y'all an unboxing. This right here came from StockX. But given the circumstances of the current state of the events that are currently plaguing us now, I'm going to refrain from doing this review on this shoe. Mainly because an unboxing should be a joyous occasion, not a go in almost a semi rant. So I will not be doing this. I will do this on the next video. But I really just want to get into the topic at hand, which is StockX. And as you've seen in the beginning of the video, in the intro, before the intro, I said I had to pull out my trusty notebook. And with this trusty notebook, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into one of the caveats. First off, are you really upset with StockX? Most people are up in arms, like they're pretty, and this is not me defending StockX. This is just me giving an overall common sense synopsis of a whole lot of situations that are currently plaguing the world right now. Let's just dab into it right here. The time frame of shipping. Well, I'll just say this: given as though they are a international service now, so they get shipments from Canada, Japan, Europe, Asia. So I mean, they pretty much have to go within the realms of their means when it comes to regulations and whatever kind of standards that they have to uphold when it comes to the shipping practices, such as UPS, DHL, FedEx, whoever they have to use with these other regions and countries. That is what they have to go off of. It's not like that the shipping could really be 100% their fault, because at the end of the day, like, I still have 2 packages currently en route to StockX. I don't know where they came from though. They could have came from New Jersey. They could have came from my state or another state, like states that have hard down restrictions going on right now. So I mean, that's kind of a is what it is situation right there. So I'll just leave that at that. I'm not going to spend too much time on the time frame, because you can't kind of put that on them for the most part. All right, I think this is everybody's favorite right here, the 3% processing fee. Now, as far as that is concerned, I'll just make it simple as I possibly could make it. The 3% processing fee, I'm not for it. But at the end of the day, and going into venture capitalism, that's part of the game. Now, I will say this about the 3% processing fee. Despite what many others think, they are still, despite them putting it, they still kind of hold a candle to a lot of other retailers, such as, 2J's, Flight Club, Stadium Goods, some eBay listings, and also GOAT as far as the price scaling is concerned, because the 3% still left them below the mark. But as a consumer, I'm about to say, any form of new taxation, new fees, or anything like that, everybody's going to be upset about that. Nobody wants to shell out more money than what they really had to do. And I can completely understand where you're coming from with that, because at the end of the day, we go to compare prices to find the best value within our means. Now, as a seller, this is gonna kind of hurt you, because if there's not many people buying, that means that you're not moving product unless you do it local. And like I said, a lot of these so-called resellers rely so heavily on StockX to the point where they are just basically e-commerce at this point. Like, they only can sell online. They cannot sell locally, or even like put a listing of, hell, even through Instagram, some people can't sell a product like that. But yes, the 3% processing fee, I'm not for it, but I get where it came from. Not that they needed it, because like I said, this is just a form of capitalism, which StockX used to be regarded as the stock market of sneakers, or stock market of things. To me, they're just the justification. It's just a gentrification of sneakers at this given point in time, because basically the whole culture has been gentrified as far as I'm concerned. Once business and capitalism takes place, it becomes gentrification. So we have already sold our culture for a dollar value, even though it has a dollar value on there, over $1 billion worth of value in that. So 3% processing fee, we hate it, but they're still below the actual market. So, and don't make it seem, I'm not gonna make it seem like I'm just gonna be ragging on them the whole time, because at the end of the day, there's always two sides of each story. But yes, this is the one that probably pissed a lot of people off more. But I'm gonna just say this: StockX took a gamble, and they pretty much lost with it. The 7 employees who wind up getting corona. Now, this is kind of working in a double-edged sword. I'm in hospitality, so it's kind of like this. When I know they have the Detroit location, so I'm gonna just use them for example. So the Detroit location just had 7 workers get infected with COVID-19. Now, you can look at this one of two ways. If I was a lawyer, I'd probably be like, well, how do you know you caught it from here? There's no proof saying you caught it there, but at the same time, you're still liable, because you didn't eliminate yourself from being a culprit of them catching it there in the first place. They could have caught it from the grocery store, liquor store, corner store, by a friend's house, who knows? But StockX is in trouble because they didn't follow the state guidelines. They didn't shut down. They were not considered an essential business. But I'm not going to sit here and act like all the other businesses aren't following regulations at this current time. There are still places that do curbside service. There are still places that are opening up secretly and still selling product, or whatever the case may be, in their non-essential businesses. So I can't fully fault StockX. I can't fully fault them, but at the same time, I can't sit here and act like they just took a gamble and lost because they got caught with it. Now, had these same 7 employees just caught it and were already unemployed at that time, then I'll just say this, then it is what it is. But I mean, you got to take into account, like my job, for instance. If I get sick, they shut down. They don't want me there. So if I do catch, Morona, I am liable. I'm my only liability. I didn't catch it at work, so therefore they're not liable. And that way, I don't have to take out workman's comp. That is the main thing. Businesses do this to prevent themselves from having to pay out workman's comp. But basically, like I was saying, StockX took a gamble and they kind of lost with that one. So I mean, they might have a bigger issue brewing than what the initial one is right now, as far as like the state and government is concerned, because this could easily turn into a civil suit amongst those employees and become a class action amongst all the rest of them because they feel like their lives was in jeopardy. And I know a lot of people are saying they have to run a business. This is a business. I said, look, they're not the only business that had to shut down because of this. I said, for Christ's sake, Ruth Chris got $20 million in a PPE loan, which to me, I'm like, I hope they gave that shit back because they definitely didn't need it. That was a small business tender, and StockX is at $1 billion, or worth $1 billion right now, especially since Dan Gilbert owns the damn shit now. So, again, don't expect me to feel sorry for small businesses. I mean, for big corporations when it comes to them getting caught up in some bullshit. All right. StockX versus everybody else. Now, as we all know, we could eat. This goes back to the 3% processor fee. If we're so up in arm about StockX, everybody, we could easily bring our money elsewhere. There are many other vendors that we could shop through. If you got a local reseller, find them. If you got Flight Club, Stadium Goods, eBay, 2Js, Urban Necessities, round two? Yeah, round two. Like, you have all these other resale shops, or even Kicks Off for Us and The Peddler, and who else they got? They got a lot of resellers that y'all could easily go to, and resale shops, to be honest with y'all. Resale shops, let me rephrase that for y'all. Houston, and you can easily go to any of these people to take care of your needs. I'm about to say the essential thing about it is you're literally paying for these people's time. So I mean, you complain about StockX ethics, but yet you don't want to pay the people who are really doing the footwork for their time. That is initially what you're doing when you're shopping with a local reseller or a resale shop. There is footwork that has to get done right there. So not only are you paying for their gas, you're paying for their time, you're paying for their well-being, regardless of how the weather is probably being out there. So a lot of these things you have to take into account when you're factoring in the price. Like that shoe that maybe was $170, might be $300 now, where you have to factor in the time that was put in to get the shoe. And like myself, I have to look at things as my pros and cons when it comes to things like that, because like I said, at me being a reseller, I know how to factor in these type of things, and I know what I'm willing to do, what I'm willing to spend, how much I'm going to spend when it comes to doing things like that. Like I said, there are people that don't believe in resale at all, and that just generally are just like anti-resale and don't even give a shit about none of this at all. But for those who do care, you have to take all these things into consideration regarding the situation going with StockX. But that's all I had on that one, and let's see what else we got. I think I already pretty much touched bases on anything that's lower than the average always looks good. And that's where StockX was always at the top of the mountain for that, because their price were always a little bit lower than GOAT. But then once they started implementing that sales tax, they stopped looking sexy. Same thing with GOAT. Once they implemented those taxes, they start looking a little less sexy. But see, when StockX started implementing the fees, then they started looking hideous to us. Horrible. And not only that, given the time and situation, we have a pandemic going on, and they want to hit us with some more fees. They want to hit us with more fees and lay off all the employees. Like, this could have been a worse time for them right now. And then they're always bad in press because we had a cyber breach last year. And then on top of the cyber breach, they didn't let nobody know for that long. And I'm gonna just say this: that 3% processing fee, that's probably going towards all all that free credit report detection that they have to do because they got breached. They have to pay that out. They got to pay that some kind of way. So they, instead of them taking a lick and just doing it in good faith, they're just pretty much passing that on to us. So we got to pay for it. So when we getting that free credit monitoring, we're still paying. We're still paying for it, bro. So don't get that twisted. And short and simple, eBay is great. You just seen I had an eBay unboxing. But another thing about eBay, they don't authenticate. But not only do they not authenticate, it's also with StockX, things slip with between the cracks with them too. But at the same time, I always could fall back on StockX and be like, look, y'all sent me a fake. So I mean, we're kind of protected by that. So that, I guess that's considered a con. Different states have different regulations. I think I touched base on that before. You can't, like, every state is different. My state still hasn't opened up yet. So it's like you can only bitch him on so long until you like use your common sense and realize that ain't shit nobody can do about it. And going back to the other topic at hand, there are other options out there. Simple and plain. If you never want to buy from StockX again, you are free to do so. You're free as a consumer to do so. There are other options out there. Just be willing to pay what those other options are. And that's being real. And let me see. A lot of companies are throwing stones and hiding their hands. Don't think StockX is the only company doing this, bro. And that's just being all the way honest with y'all. But like I said before, I'm not letting StockX off the hook. I'm not letting StockX off the hook as far as their practices, as far as their business design, as far as their schemes and marketing. I'm not letting them off the hook at all. Because I remember when they were the capitalists and it was a one-man ran operation. I remember all this because I was there from the jump. I was there from the beginning, from when capitalists became StockX, and then I was in the beta trial. Like, really? Like, I'm gonna just say, I seen the progression, and I've also seen the bumps along the way. But it's more of the consumer fault because we still shop with them. We still give them our money. We still give them our time. We still make them our preferential platform. That is the whole reason behind StockX's rise. And like I said, who can you really fault? I mean, Goat is still doing practices right now themselves. They're still shipping out. They're still doing things. So, I mean, it's only so much you could do. But I'm not gonna just give them all the flack for that. But I will hold them accountable for all the actions they do, especially with their employees, with their practices, with their implication of fees, with their with the time processing for, like, there is a certain level of responsibility that they have to take for a lot of this stuff. The breaches, the hell, I'm about to say the non-transparency, the lack of efficiency with the customer service. I could go on with a list for them. I've seen it. I've lived through it. I've been through it. I know exactly where a lot of you have been through. Hell, even to the people that got banned from StockX just for some bullshit. Like, I understand all that. But like I said, we have to be universal with this thing all around. We can't fault somebody for trying to make their money if we're still throwing it at them. That's just being real. So, I mean, they took a gamble and they lost. And they got in trouble. And they are in trouble. And they may have further implications going into this in the near future. But for right now, we just have to coincide with what the facts is right now. But thank y'all for tuning in as always, and I deeply appreciate y'all. And I will eventually get back to my regularly scheduled program. And also, I'll be on live Sunday at noon Eastern time. It'll be on Shoes Up, Sleeves Down channel. Tristan, it'll be on his channel. Come, drop in, chill out. If y'all got time, deeply appreciate that. This will be the first live that I've been on in I don't know how long. But as always, stay true, stay fly, stay blessed. And I'm Jason Baby, and I'm out. You dig? Yes. What's wrong, sweetie?